The Relationship Between Crime and Poverty, written by Ashley Becker. After analyzing the recently published 2011 Unified Crime Report, produced by the Federal Bureau of Investigations, it is essential that we citizens and government officials not only note the alarming rate of the rise in crime in the United States, but investigate and eradicate whatever contributes to the process of deviance in one's life. After thorough review of sociological, economic, and psychological academic journals, it is apparent that there are obvious outliers that contribute to the development of crime in one's life, such as poverty, single-parent households, dangerous neighborhoods, and lack of education. Such outliers are taken into consideration, and individuals living with these specific predispositions are aided towards healthy lifestyle choices through groups such as the Boys and Girls Club, YMCA, or Pikes Peak Academy. This is seen as a preventative measure towards crime. However, in the society we live in, reactionary measures towards crime are more prevalent. Incarceration, jail time, and little to no rehabilitative procedures are seen as more cost-effective and a swifter process. The FBI, founded in 1908, is the nation's most intelligent source when it comes to the empirical and quantitative evidence of crime and other deviant acts. They are also responsible for protecting and defending the nation against crime by investigating and incarcerating individuals for their illegal acts. However, their reactionary approach towards crime is a never-ending circle of defending and protecting the nation. Preventative measures should be instilled in the FBI to stop the problem before it starts and reduce the need for reactionary measures altogether. I propose that a certain task force be created, built upon this type of ideology. Upon creating an administrative task force to analyze the effects of poverty and other contributors and their relationship with crime, preventative measures can be implemented to reduce crime, protect the community, promote crime prevention, and improve agency efficiency, all of which the FBI claims as goals in their mission statement. These preventative measures, paired with the FBI's reactionary measures towards crime, can be perfectly exemplified in the way Pikes Peak Academy, a private street school, builds relationships and helps aid deviant youth attending the school away from crime and towards a healthy lifestyle. From large-scale crimes such as espionage, money laundering, and identity theft to bank robbery, gangs, and retail theft, the Federal Bureau of Investigation currently has jurisdiction over violations of more than 200 categories of federal law. A yearly crime report containing an elaborate detailed analysis of property and violent crimes committed over the last year is one of the leading responsibilities of the FBI and its counterparts. It is used by them and other government officials to take a look at the overall agency efficiency in regards to crime, control, and the safety of Americans. In this past year, preliminary figures indicate that, as a whole, law enforcement agencies throughout the nation reported a decrease of 6.4% in the number of violent crimes brought to their attention for the first 6 months of 2011 when compared with other figures reported for the same time in 2010. The FBI prides themselves on constantly reducing crime in one area or another, whether it be property or violent crime. They will undoubtedly continue to protect you, your children, your communities, and your businesses from the most dangerous threats facing our nation, by any means necessary. In addition to the empirical evidence and statistics in regards to crime provided on the FBI website, a healthy remainder is dedicated to the attempt to build awareness of crime to help protect American citizens. For instance, various tabs on the website include Protecting Your Kids, About Dangerous Criminals, How Safe is Your Community. The FBI claims their central focus of spies, terrorists, hackers, pedophiles, mobsters, gang leaders, and serial killers. We investigate them all. The very heart of FBI operations lies in our investigations. However, it is essential to note that nowhere in the FBI's website is a proposal towards the idea of preventing crime through the investigation of prior criminals, sociological, psychological, or economic factors, which one would feel logical in solving the equation to crime. An example of this type of study stems from a scholarly article in the Journal of Labor Economics. Written by two world-renowned economists, Giulio Del Piano and Eugenio Giolito, the article finds, Using crime rates from the FBI's Uniform Crime Report program, we find that unilateral divorce has a positive impact on violent crime rates, approximately 9% average increase for the period under consideration. Then, using UCR arrest data, we find, for the overall period under analysis, an average of increase of 19% in the violent arrest rates and approximately 25% increase in the case of aggravated assault and murder arrest rates. Secondly, Del Piano and Giolito are quoted saying, "Mothers in adopting states were more likely to become the head of the household and to fall below the poverty line, especially the less educated ones. Therefore, our results yield a channel linking the unilateral reform, or divorce, with the increase in crime." Another study, Living the Drama, Community, Conflict, and Culture Among Inner-City Boys, published in the academic Social Service Journal, analyzed UCR data in relation to the geographic location to where the crime was committed. The author, David Harding, used examples, statistics, and quotes to elaborate on his findings. For example, in multiple interviews with the boys, with parents, and with community leaders, many details are uncovered regarding where the boys go to school, how they travel around the city, where they feel safe, which neighborhoods are deemed neutral or dangerous, who their friends are, and what it is like to grow up in a violent neighborhood. In his findings, Harding concludes that when adolescents in poor and disadvantaged neighborhoods see no economic future and have no resources to respond to their environment in socially acceptable ways, it is not surprising that violence erupts and has to be responded to in many ways. If the FBI sought to create groups to analyze their UCR reports, as did these two authors, the expertise and level of the knowledge of the agency would be second to none, seeing as to how they would have capability to receive direct reports and empirical evidence from their fellow FBI employees. Through the use of this information, groups such as the Boys and Girls Club and the YMCA have set out to specifically target poverty-stricken single-parent populations. For example, an online interview named "From Z to A, What Generation Z Can Teach Generation Alpha" with the CEO of the Boys and Girls Club, Mark Heister, yields very interesting ideas one can use for preventative measures towards crime. Harding quotes, "There is going to be a separate track in every generation that will always be poor, and of course, it's never the kids' fault. But, unless there are organizations that are intervening to move kids out of the separate poverty track, we'll just move poverty down the generation trail. Boys and Girls Clubs are that intervener for our kids. We give them decision-making and healthy lifestyle skills, preparing them to make good decisions about their lives." Keister elaborates that these preventative measures look like healthy after-school programs that allow them an escape from deviant activities, nutritious meals that are otherwise incapable for children living in poverty to afford, and one-on-one counseling to allow for positive bonds to be formed. Keiser finalizes his interview by noting, "If we do not develop our children, we'll burden our social services network down the road. We know that an undereducated workforce places a stronger demand on social services, has a greater proclivity towards the criminal justice system, is not healthy, and the list goes on." This perfectly exemplifies the importance of creating an investigative FBI task force. The less preventative steps taken when analyzing crime and its offenders, the heavier the burden will be on the FBI and its counterparts. While searching for the perfect example of how this specific task force should be ran, it is essential to find a happy medium of both reactionary and preventative measures towards crime. This ideal was perfectly exemplified through Pikes Peak Academy, an alternative street school in Colorado Springs, Colorado. Pikes Peak Academy, or PPA, aims to recruit youth who have dropped out of high school, became in trouble with the law, have had children while in high school, or are suffering with the difficulties of drug abuse and other deviant activities that make it hard to have a prosperous lifestyle. Their curriculum is tailored to meet the different needs of each student. Their three-part program is composed of an academic portion that takes place at the school, a life skills portion that takes place at the school, and a work study portion that takes place either at school or in the community. Ergo, the students are not only required to finish their schoolwork but complete court-ordered community service or be responsible of having a part-time job. In a personal interview with the school's principal, Mark Becker, he states, "It's not enough just to have these kids come here with multiple charges, 1 or 2 kids, no job, come from a broken family, and baby them all the way to a diploma. By instilling a sense of responsibility with themselves and the government, they will leave the school with a renewed sense of hope, gratitude, and a better shot at making it in life." The required part-time job enables the student to develop a sense of ownership with the money he or she earns, and they can even help provide for their family in ways not possible prior to attending PPA. Becker notes that poverty is an unfortunate issue that most families and students at PPA deal with. He quotes, "It inhibits a healthy lifestyle. Most of these kids turn to selling drugs, stealing, or mooching off wealthier family members to get what they feel they need. That is why we absolutely love our Work Track program." Becker also discussed his distinct way of recruiting possible PPA students. These kids aren't going to come from wealthier all-white neighborhoods in northern Colorado Springs. Rather, the PPA staff strategically displays their posters, business cards, and speaks to fellow teachers at high schools and businesses in high-risk areas of Southern Springs. By becoming familiar with the citizens and their surroundings in these cities, it becomes easier to develop teaching styles that will be successful for both the teachers and the students. In conclusion, it is essential to note that over the past 20 years of operation, PPA's graduation rate has been an astonishing 80%. Therefore, the instillment of PPA's methodology and mannerisms in regards to reactionary and preventative measures towards crime can undoubtedly be successfully used. It is essential to note the heart of this specific exigency lies in the obvious need for the reduction of crime and its offenders, for the FBI, Boys and Girls Club, and PPA alike. Matters of incarceration, investigation, and sentencing are legal issues that are necessary in legitimately stopping one from committing crime. However, there are other resources and options that can keep this cycle from ever happening in the first place. The need for law enforcement is obvious and will forever be undeniable. However, upon the creation of a certain FBI task force that can investigate the effects of poverty and other contributors and their relationship with crime, preventative measures can be implemented to reduce crime, protect the community, and promote crime prevention. This will not only contribute to agency effectiveness, but allow a sense of fear to be reduced for citizens and government alike. With direct access to FBI crime data, paired with the use of PPA's model of reaction and prevention to crime, an accurate vision towards crime can be created.